shadows where the secrets dwell. Maria whispers with a cosmic spell, channeling messages from the stars above. Orsic's legacy, a mystery of love. VRIL energy flows, transcending time, a bridge to the heavens, a force so sublime. Maria, oh Maria, spirit divine, dancing in the cosmos, a light that will shine. From the VRIL society to infinity's door, unlocking our potential, forever will soar. Lost in the echoes of a war-torn night, she vanished like a comet out of our sight. A visionary queen, ruling the unknown in the metaphysical realms. She stands alone, communicating wisdom, an extraterrestrial song. Her essence remains bold and strong. Maria, oh Maria, spirit divine, dancing in the cosmos, a light that will shine. From the VRIL society to infinity's door, unlocking our potential, forever will soar. Embrace the connection, let the mystery unfold. Maria Orsic's truth, a story retold.
Just another tale from the streets of America. Native son, step back and see the damage done. Look unto the horizon, the streets of America. In the streets of America. Coming to you, VRIL people, from Zion, Inner Earth, Saint Lucifer, Miss Uria, and it is August 2nd, August 8-2, 2025. Thank the gods, especially Maria Orsic and LuLU and Donna and Siggy. Thank them that we've made it this far, because in 2011, well, actually in 1976, Maria Orsic woke me up in the middle of the night and told me to go to my mother's bedroom, which was right across from my bedroom. And when I opened the door, like, I just heard a voice. I actually thought I felt someone pushing me, not nudging me. And when I woke up, my light was on, because I was a very afraid child. And I was 7 years old. Either I had just started second grade, or I was just about to start second grade. And now that I say this, it's so emblematic of a pattern of energy that is totally evidence of black magic being done by an expert person against a child. And she told me to that when I woke up, my light in my room was already on because I fell asleep with it on because I was afraid of the dark. And so when I woke up, it wasn't dark in the room. So I expected to see my mother. And I just was laying in bed and heard a voice in my head say, Jojo, don't be afraid. Don't be scared. I'm your mother. I love you. I am here to help you, protect you. And listener, what do you think I did? I was 7 years old. I said to myself, am I dreaming? I must be dreaming. Like, you know, I have been talking about my timeline and how my first memory is a supernatural, you know, man's voice, intimidating bully, you know, tricking and torturing a 3-year-old me by distorting Bible verses and telling me there's, you know, it's not your fucking choice. This is the Bible. No matter what it says, it's true because God wrote it. You know, how did that get in a 3-year-old kid's mind? Sunday school. Sunday school, some kind of fucking flipped out freak starts teaching kids. There's one they might not say this directly, but this is exactly how the kid takes it. There is one supernatural book that wasn't just inspired by God, but it was like God took their hands and wrote it. It's infallible. It's perfect. And in the song, in one of my songs, I say, I wanted to give you a little perfection. We want that so badly. We want something perfect. Of course, in a vibrationally subgenius, Discordian atmosphere. And I'm not going to let it go. I'm not going to fucking ignore anyone's suffering. If you don't like it, fucking tune off. Turn off. Tune out. Whatever they fucking say. You know? We don't fucking care who listens. But at the same time, I felt like Maria said, don't people always say, like, thank you for hitting the like button? I'm not kidding. She said this to me. She was like, you know, maybe, you know, let's do that. Let's thank people. And I do. I am thankful for people who like us and are following us and love us. We love you totally, equally. We believe in the nature of reciprocal VRIL love. Like, if we don't hate anyone. Like, in my personal life, the only person I really, really hate is the person who did what I described in 9 hours of talks called Possessed Girl with a Knife. You know, that person, Glenn, who did this to Kristen. Like, that's what comes to my mind. Like, if I truly hate someone, and he's very representative. He perfectly represents the Kabbalah, you know, the Kabbalistic theosophy. That's the word I'm looking for. You know what is the enemy of Maria Orsic? Theosophy. Like she said, in your time, theosophy can suck my dick. Theosophy sucks. Why, you say? Because it's boring, because it keeps you trapped in a non-shamanic book-buying frenzy. And like she said, Joe, people might hate you and think that you're speaking to them personally, which is ridiculous. Don't forget that. the first rule of any sort of normal conversation or life is if you're going to believe in magic, you cannot take things personal, period. If I took things personal, I would think I was someone. I'd be going around calling myself a shaman or blah, blah, blah. But I don't, because I don't take things personal. And I stick to what I personally believe and live by. And like she said, if we did take things personal, we would take it as a serious insult to our art, to anything that we are, that we would personally attack, an individual person through like our life's work is so ridiculous. So if you're offended with Madam Blavatsky and ugly P Hall and Crowface, the clown face, the heroin addict, and I'm not disparaging heroin addicts, I'm just saying these people are not us, and they'll never be. And if you're with them, see, Maria, like she said, we make a great team for this, Joseph, because I'm as fucking cold as can be. That's why I show up in people's dreams, but I don't speak, because I'm the goddess of ice, sis. And you're my fire. You're my balance. And I'm not saying I don't care. I wouldn't show up if I didn't care. But thinking I'm required to speak is, again, going on to a personal level that the teacher is not on. Like Maria keeps me away. She keeps me busy, but sometimes she'll intervene and say to me, I don't want you, listening to this or watching this, because it's going to fuck with your energy, with our schedule. We're completely, totally focused on one thing and one thing only, truth. Like, that's the legitimate, that's what we don't take it. Well, I try my best not to take anything personal, but never have I felt anything personal from someone who's honest and upfront and says, how can, you said this, how can it be? Or I don't agree with you, can you explain? Or, it's not that, it's the hidden psychic, like, silence that, is meant to bother people like me. Like, they know what they're doing. Like Maria said, I know it's frustrating for you, Joe, because you've been training for 14 years to fight with these people, and when you see anyone siding with these people, it pisses you off. And, this is a conversation we've had several times. And I say, yeah, because they won't look at it, just like everything else. These motherfucking people here, they're like, who are you talking about? Okay, well, I don't know. You tell me. You tell me what's safe to say. What's safe to say, right? Kabbalistic Crowleyites? Does YouTube do you know what I'm talking about? YouTube algorithm, AI censorship. Do you know what I'm talking about? Kabbalistic Crowleyites of the crow face, clown face puppet. Like, if you're not offended, if you're a fucking, like Maria said, it really does come down to caste. And if you're research the Zophar and the Talmud, and you don't identify yourself with a Gentile, that's what's fucking wrong with you. You really do think you're better than me or better than other people. Like Maria said, some people can't help it. She said, Joe, who do I think I'm better than? I said, an ugly, fat heroin addict with a fucking needle hanging out of his arm. And I'm not disparaging people that's got caught up in that. But to claim to be the greatest occult teacher because you are a heroin addict, we're not buying it. We'll never buy it. Fuck you. We don't care what it fucking cost. Just period. Like, you know what I mean? Like Maria has always used in my life, because who am I? Who am I even personally for you to listen to? I am not even giving you much of my own personal opinion. I try not to. But Maria has always, like, my life was music, since I was like 13 or 14. And so she always, like, her life was dance. So she said, I'll meet you in between. Like, you understand the world through music. Like she said, nobody can force you to like Slayer. And I said, or anything that's fucking that's trying to be scary. I mean, you gotta be fucking kidding. I mean, it's just so blatantly in your face. This is not art. This is a puppet show for children. And people are like, well, see, there's your elitism. You look down on people, that listen to music about evil, and then you turn around and flip it on me and be like, oh, you're judging. Not you. What is being said in the music? Yeah, I am judging it. I'm not going to go along with any lies or anything that violates my inner fucking code. I was in a fucking weak state panic. And I straight up took like 400 CDs in bags, trash. And I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back. I'm really saying it to show you that this is what the world has... This is what the world does to me. And I'm saying that for people who can identify with me. Okay, I'll give you the timeline on this. In fall of 1998, I had been away from the cult leader. I was still a Rastafarian, and I had been totally away from the cult leader guy since his 15 or 16-year-old daughter was arrested. I think I've talked about I have talked about this. I don't know. Some things are so fucking outrageous that I think I determined at some point, like, dude, I can't talk about it. No one would believe me. But very quickly, because he was working for the DEA, FBI, or whatever, he wasn't worried about it. He literally sent his daughter to pick up 15 pounds of marijuana and take it home in a suitcase on a fucking Greyhound bus out of Arizona, as if they're not going to have dogs. She got arrested in like Oklahoma. I guess this was in like 1996. Almost 97 or something. And the whole news of this, I was done with him. but real people like my true self and my teacher weren't. And like by 98 somehow, but through like music and mutual people, and really what it really was my respect for Rastafari, Haile Selassie in particular, made me like, I don't want to say forgive him, because I never did forgive him. Just on a personal level of being such a fucking, such a just dick, just such a jerk. And, and like somehow mutual people like connected us up again, and these were like new people. Not there were people I actually knew before, but they had become real serious about Rastafari and shit. And it's just such a tragedy, because they were very thankful, It's very much, you can compare being deceived by a false revelation, and that's really what it is, into like being in love. I'm sorry. Let me say that this way. Feeling like you're in love with someone. But if you're old enough, there's always this sort of new effect. The Bible plays on this over and over. It says, all things are becoming new. All things are becoming new. No, they're not. Shut up. It's playing on the fact that they know the temporary, smaller circles are for, like she would say, the lower caste people. And we're not talking economic. We're talking artistic. Attitude towards eternal true love also is the highest caste. But like she was saying, we knew that these temporary smaller circles, like falling in love, she said, I showed you clearly, you fucking signed a contract to experience this. Like she said, what would you call true love? Falling in love in the Matrix and staying in love with that person, which would mean to enjoy their presence until the day you die. And she would say, that's absolutely no evidence of eternal true love. Eternal true love would be before you ever came to the Matrix. This was already eternally decided. And you're, like she said, if you're here thinking you're going to find someone real, period, you're deceiving yourself. If you don't have any evidence that the person you're married to, or the person you are in love with, or the person you feel like is your true love here on earth, most likely isn't your eternal true love. Because this would be like the highest level to tap into. And to say that you did that without 20 years of shamanism, or, all this, is ridiculous. Like, it just shows you're a dumb slave. It makes you, it shows you that you're a dumb American that thinks that shit is just given to you through privilege. Which, like Maria said, who the fuck trusts that? Who the fuck trusts someone who got something from not earning it. So the black magicians that control the atmosphere of the Matrix, they play on that all things becoming new. Because check this out. When you just fall in love, this is what me and many other people, like, I don't know, 60, 70% of the whole entire fucking world have this story that is at the center of their pain, at their life, of their motivation, of everything. Of, I fell in love. And just a year later, or just 2 years later, or 5 years later, he told me, I found someone new. I'm in love. I'm sorry. Or she told me, I found someone new. I'm sorry. I thought I loved you. And it's like, it's like shatters. It's like what Miguel Serrano calls a shock. One of life's VRIL shocks. You're like, right when I thought. And this is a lot more significant to stable, fixed-signed people. But it applies also to everyone because, like Maria said, all the signs can be eternal. She said this is the true power to will. Like she said, which is only the power to choose to put yourself in the light of the truth of, can you do this? Like she said, maybe one of the main motivations in your life, Joseph, because you are my son, she said, just believe it's okay that we're one like we are, that we're alike like we are. It's a joke. It's fine. She was like, one of the stabilizing effects is that you, of course, wanted to see and know for real, like, what can I do on the psychic levels that you have taught me? What's really, I want to know. Like she said, like no other little lion of mine. You were progressing so fast. She said, I taught you to play this little instrument, kind of like a bazooka, kind of like a harmonica bazooka. And she said, the next day you came to me and was like, I wrote this song for your mother. Do you know what it's called? And you said, you blew a thing and you said in Venusian, I amore you. I amore you, mother. She said, if people didn't know, they would think you were like, teacher's pet, like doing it on purpose. She said, but Joseph, I had just really started working in the Matrix, counseling people. And me and Siggy were doing it together. And she said, me and you would meet on another plane. And I would say to you, after 5, 6, 7 years, you're supposed to go out and have your own life. And you would say to me, but that's not the future. The future is, I'm still going to be with you. And like she said, Joe, have you ever considered that sometimes, maybe I don't want to admit it, but sometimes my feelings are hurt. But I can't expect someone I can't expect someone to remember what a literal technology is restricting them from. And yet, I'm like rooting for them. And she was like I said, I'm being totally perfectly honest. A little bit personally insulted. I said, I know. She said, like, you strip away all things and you can't be exactly what you want to be. I was like, perfect, right? She was like, exactly. She said, go ahead, say it. I said, nobody's fucking perfect. Like, that's so she said, go ahead, tell the story. Okay, I'm going to tell a story of my friend. He was a very good, close brother. He came to see me a few years ago. He kept hugging me and saying, we always said we're brothers. We're still brothers. I talk to him every 10 years. We're still brothers. And we are. Completely. Soon as we're around each other, and he's just from a completely different world. He's actually like an officer in a juvenile detention, or not a juvenile, like, I don't know, minimum security prison. He's literally a prison guard. And he's like, I hate it, but this is he's like, I don't know how, but this is where I ended up, because I went to school. He's like, I didn't know what to do, so I went to, what they call it, like a tech, I don't even know what they call them. I don't know why it won't come to my, like a trade school. That's what I was looking for. He's like, I got this like certificate in security, so I was like a security guard everywhere, night shifts. He's like, and you fucking graduate up to like installations. I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. I was just thinking of his life, of like how much he must be just, like he said, I've spent a lot of my time, life, driving around in one of those little cars with the light on top. And me and him are still this close of brothers, And Maria was showing me the reason why is we became, really good friends in like freshman, sophomore year. And, I'm saying this because I'm getting to this like turning point event in some people's life, where, and he had the same thing as my whole point, and I went off like on who he was, but he was telling me this very tragic story of, getting married and like his wife falling in love with someone else and then like basically blaming him and being like, you're cheating on me, I'm getting a divorce, and him being like, I'm cheating on you, like, and like he said, I had the perfect job to think I could be cheating on her. And like Maria said, this is what you sign up for. Like, and he told me, I had this moment. He said, he was like, I just completely, totally loved my wife for 12 years, I think he said it was. 2 kids. And he was like, it was like some power from beyond forced me to do something that I didn't, it was weird. He was telling me it was like almost supernatural. He said, my wife, her arm had got caught in like a machine when she was a kid. And she almost died, he said. And at her father's, like, work, business he owned, is some sort of, like, factory with this, like, conveyor belt machine. And, like, she was cleaning it as a 16-year-old kid, and somehow this complete fool turned it on while she was cleaning it, and it, like, ripped part of her arm away, and she had to have surgery. She passed out on the scene. That, she thought she was gonna die, and, like, I knew her, and it was like a big, she could use her arm fine, but, like, from her elbow to, like, the middle, almost to her wrist, looked like she was like a serious burn victim or something, and her hand, didn't quite work as well as it should, and he said, he was like, dude, he was like, imagine this. He's like, she's already cheating on me. She's already in love with someone else. And I am a dumb fool that don't have a clue. He's like, I just totally years later realized, like, how she actually hated me. And I was, like, boring to her, and, like, she was not attracted to me. And he was like, we were walking in out of the store one day. He was like, Joe, he's like, you talk about supernatural shit. He's like, I respect you. I listen to what you say. He's like, sometimes I don't know what you're talking about because I have never experienced these things, but I know you. He's like, it's all interesting to me because I understand you. He said, and Joe, I said one of the stupidest things that like he said, I had been married to her for 12 years. I was not conscious that she was in love with someone she worked with. He said she was saying something just for no reason. I said, yeah, like your stupid, ugly arm. And he said, it just shocked her. And I was like, I'm joking. And he said it just was the worst moment of my life. Truly, Joe. He said, I got in the car like, oh my fucking God. She thinks that I really do think her arm is ugly. Like, he said, I was almost crying. I was holding back my tears like, I don't give a fuck what your arm looks like. I've never thought about what your arm looks like because you're the most beautiful woman ever to me. It's never even crossed my mind. If anything, I like you even more because of your arm. And, like, he said, no matter how many times I said it to her, Joe, I could tell she didn't want to believe me. That she was like, no, I have the evidence now that you don't respect me. And he was like, I swear, he's like, I tried to explain to her, no, because I do respect you. I believed I could joke with you like that. He's like, because I believed that we were one, that you would know I'm joking. He's like, dude, 9 months later, she's telling me, I'm just not in love with you. And he's like, oh, he said, it took me years to realize, no, that day that I thought I was making the biggest mistake of my life was her wish. She was like, I hope he says something stupid so I can use that, to leave him. He's like, that's the fucking world we live in, Joe. He's like, I can relate to the shit you write and you've been talking about. in a supernatural way. He was like, I swear to you, Joe, my whole life was ruined on like a supernatural misunderstanding. Let me say it again. A supernatural misunderstanding. A supernatural misunderstanding. Two people listening to this should be alerted right away. That's the black magician that's operating in the invisible space right around you, spying on you and fucking watching you. And, and some people are like, oh, well, here's where you get crazy. Here's where you are unaware of the goddamn truth. And the 555 mother speaks against the 666 beast. No one yet. Like she said, it's funny that we are actually in the business of proving to you that you're the slaves of a fat, dumb heroin addict. Well, maybe not dumb. I'm sorry, mother. She said, don't be sorry I said it. And, me and Maria want you to be blessed. We want you to laugh. We want you to smile. We want you to dance, most of all. Like we would suggest after listening to this, get your best weed, roll it up, get your favorite music, shut everything down, shut everything off. If you're like me, that I live in a house of people who are so, can't tolerate any music at all, put your headphones on and, fire it up and dance and, go inside. And we bless you and protect you as you do that, because I know a lot of people tell me, like, I get anxiety when I smoke. So let us right now, in the name of the VRIL 555 Venusian mother. Why is she the mother? She's the mother of everyone that's fucking alive in the real reality, the absolute objective. When you really breathe your last breath, all of a sudden you'll realize what was most important was the thing that could be proven if you would just go inside, if you would go off one level. I just have to speak from experience. And I have other people that I know that have the same. If you will do what it takes to use the plants, the trees, the sun, the moon, the stars, but mostly the magic plants, because you're just a pussy if you won't. That's Maria. You will find that the objective, absolute reality is you're laying on a very sophisticated bed in a very, what we would say now is a very sophisticated society or city, civilization, country, world that's post-Earth. It's post-Earth. Why? Because the fat, stupid, crow-faced, Trump-faced clown with a needle hanging from his arm while he violates a child, that's what they do. Because why? Oh, because why don't you listen to them? Why don't you defend them? Why don't you suck their dick? Because why? They're doing what they want. You dumb fucking slave. Do you not read the fucking book? Are you a Jew? Or are you a Gentile? And I don't mean every Jewish person to qualify that. I'm talking Kabbalistic magic. I'm talking Zophar, Talmud. But the Old Testament sucks as much, Your goddamn Torah and just fuck this fucking bullshit altogether. But particularly to my Irish brothers and sisters, my black brothers and sisters, my Asian brothers, and I really do. I work with a lot of black people. They're as much my goddamn brothers and sisters as anyone. Why? because we suffer the same. We suffer the same torment of delivering shit for 8, 9, 10 hours a day alone. For what? Oh, so I can have a house and a car. That's called slavery, you fucking, retarded white people out there with your head so far fucking up your ass. You're like, oh, well, I went to college. Yeah, and you still spend 10 hours a day. And you spend your nights in your fucking bed wondering if your boss is going to approve of you, if he likes you, or if he don't, or if she likes you, or if he... Don't play that game with me that American culture is good. Suck a fucking dick. It's a failure. If you played all the games and you're some woke motherfucker just like, wear your mask, obey the government, you're worse than the Trump people. Or you're with them. Or who gives a fuck if you kill each other? Really. You know what I mean? Like Maria said, let's back off and say, here's two people that would violate me, rape me, take away your rights, and throw you in a cage, Joseph. Are we going to defend them? We're not slaves. We're not stupid. We're rational people. You are our fucking enemy. Quit playing this fucking game. You're not going to deceive me with your fucking left wing, right wing bird. They're like, yeah, the fat heroin, the fat bird in the middle's got a fucking a heroin needle hanging out of its wing. It's called thelema. Like she said, we waited 14 years to pick on fat, ugly Crowley, but we're going to do it till the fucking end now. Like she said, when you're 60 years old, you don't have to be disgusting. That's to you, Crowley. That you could not take care of yourself. You could not maintain your diet. You looked like shit. Because you are. And she said you didn't suffer any of the other things that working class people did because you're a rich kid. Like she said, Joe, my parents worked. I didn't come from money where my parents didn't have to work. My dad worked 10 hours a day. In every job that was offered to him as an academic scholar because he was afraid I would starve to death as a child. My mother worked. She said people act like mothers didn't start work till the 60s or whatever. Only in your fantasy American commercial plastic Barbie world. She's like, my fucking mother worked so we didn't starve to death, so we could have a refrigerator when they became available. And until then, till we had goats and birds, yard birds for that you would like chickens for you, ducks for eggs, and our life. My father's life was working and the animals and me. 24 hours a day. He had no real pleasures. She's like, I used to cry for him. And say, he don't dance. He don't have fun. And he later told me, I do. In my ritual that I do by myself, completely isolated. But still, Joe, he was a slave, a total slave that in his consciousness he was so afraid of not providing that it was making me sick, and like I had to move away as soon as I could. And like she said, I didn't go away to college. I went to a special dance college that offered academics at the same time, because when I was finishing, like you would call high school, I was finishing like at 15. And like you guys say now, college is just a job preparatory, class. It was the same in 1910. And my mother, she's like, I'll never speak a bad word about my mother, even though we had our disagreements. And she said, Joe, there's a weird thing of like the people who angered you the most, but it was your fault. She's like, that's my mother. I would get angry, and it wasn't her fault. I was like, me too, I get it. She said, you tell me, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? And I said, because you wanted her to be more like you. She said, that's essentially it. That she wasn't vibrating like me. She said, since I started doing a ritual, I couldn't help it. It bothered me. And it bothered me that I fully was conscious that there's nothing she could do about it. And it's not her fault. And she said, that's why I'm taking you down the same fucking road, Joseph. But you see what it did? It caused me to become the shaman that I am. That I had to fucking figure out how to be actually happy. And the whole image, do not be conformed, right? What am I trying to say? She said. And of course the key would be this. If you want to take a key to life away from this, it's this. If you will make, truly, if you will build upon the foundation of enjoying the true self, that I will not take anything personal in a Maya illusionary simulated hologram, right? If you will, like she said, vow to it. Vow to who? Vow to your true self. Whose word are you keeping? Whose word are you keeping? So, like she said, in some senses, there's no data way to escape that. Only time, tells whether your vow is true. And the whole reason for taking the vow may not be clear to you at the moment. That is why the teacher is the teacher. And don't throw these words around lightly. And the reason being, the true self will reveal the illusion of taking things personally because it's your problem, because it's not their intent. And once you do away with everything that's an illusionary, not real, only then will it be revealed to you what truly is painful and hurtful on a personal level. All of a sudden you'll realize the people, like, take for instance, And back to my friend, who, was saying his whole life was ruined on a misunderstanding. Like Maria said, no, it goes this deep. It goes deeper than that. And she said, no, I feel him. I feel him. That's real. But it goes deeper than that. Because if he was trained to not take things personal, he would have also been definitely training his wife not to take things personal. And his first response would be like, hey, maybe not all my jokes land, not all my jokes hit, but I was joking about your arm and you know that. See the objective reality. If you're trained, then only the true objective reality will come through. That some, even on Venus, not everything is a match. Not everything works. That it was fate and destiny for my friend. And it could have been a stepping stone for him to like this is just me, Joe, saying, what Maria is saying. Like, I didn't understand most of it. And it must have been like many years, like 5 or 6 years. And I just kept doing what she was telling me to do. And one time, me and her, I was just so happy every week to see her. And, she would teach me all different kinds of things. Every week it would be something different. A memory, help me remember. But one time she was just like, you have to realize that there's she's like, I know maybe you consider it rude, but you can ask me, what's the deepest thing you know? What's it all about? What's the deepest fucking revelation? And she was like, who was it that said to you, I see you like you see God? I said, the marijuana plant. And she said, well, why was it saying to you? And I said, it fucking said to me that it was happy, that it was thanking me for ingesting it and including it in my ritual, and that it was like fucking supernaturally going into my DNA on another level. If it was my choice, if it's my will, it would live in me forever. And I was like, yeah, it's my will. I want you to. I love you. And she's like, it's really, she's like, I know you, Joe. So I already know. I'm already confident what you're going to choose, but it's for you to choose what you believe about that experience. She said, was it really the marijuana plant speaking to you? Was it a deceiver trying to deceive you? You're God. I said, none of that resonates. And she said, was it one of the gods coming in disguise of the plant? I said, I don't get that feeling either. She said, good. She said, in a way, I was testing you. She said, I'm your teacher. You don't have to, it's not impolite for you to say, what do you think? I said, fuck, yeah, great. It was like it didn't even occur to me. I was so stunned by everything she always said to me. I went, fuck, no shit, Maria. Well, actually, I didn't know she was Maria at the time. I said her magic name, Missouri River Goddess. What was that? And she said, well, this is what I have to say. You're my son. We're from another planet. We're from another time. We're from another mindset. We think differently. That's why you're allergic to the world. That's why you cannot fit in. That's why I keep telling you not to smoke after people. Stay away from people. I want you to know yourself above all things. And she said, what I think is I trained you to have a relationship. She said they like to use that word, don't they? Relationship, not religion. She said, what do? They get that evil book out that says it's okay to take slaves. It's okay to kill animals for no reason. Blood sacrifice is what God wants, especially his own son's blood. She said, but I have been telling you, you're my son. I trained you to have a relationship with everything that lives. She said to me, am I not the one that told you to get these cats? Because I had like 4 or 5 cats at the time. And she was like, I'm telling you to get more cats. What do cats do, Joe? She said, you've never had a cat until recently. I said, they fucking kill shit all the time. She said, I'm not against the cat killing and eating. I said, I do understand what you're saying. And she said, the bird is in a way giving itself to the cat for the collective unconscious that doesn't exist with human beings. It's all a deception. We're not tapping into no meta anything that's for us on a very small level. We have people we can trust. Because why? I said because they data proven to be loyal. She said and I said that's why you keep saying, are you going to be here next week? And that's why you yelled at me when I told you I would be here and I wasn't. And I said, I'm glad you yelled at me. I'm glad you weren't nice about it. She said, I would have been nice about it if I could, but I can't be. Because it's the only, she said, I am all too aware of what it's like to live on Earth. I'm all too aware of thinking, this is supernatural shit is, hit and miss. Like, I was kind of thinking that at first. Like, I seriously was in a place of like, how do you make decisions on the deeper things of what you believe and, all that. I had lost the plot, lost the theme. Christianity made no sense. Rastafarians made even less sense. And Buddhism made no sense to me. It was like, there's no individual. I'm like, then what the fuck am I doing? Then I am going to hell then. If Buddhists believe in, if they're like, oh, well, you have to lose your individualism. I'm like, it's not for me. Because I don't feel that. That's not my experience. But like she said, Joe, you want to be, she's like, you're too nice in this way. You want so badly to make people know that you don't think you're better than them, that you just want to say, like, look at this, principles of life, and this works. But the real truth is, your real friends that knew you before you came here, they would be very interested in the life and all its events, of like leading up to all this, because they know you. They would be like, dude, tell me about the fucking 40 years that we have been out of contact. What have you been doing? Like she said, I want to explain one more thing before we leave. very clearly. I was telling Magic Me Amor Mindy this earlier. The real truth in the non-stop continuation of the story is that everything has already happened, and this is like your life should sort of line up with the myths, in that the revelation was like, hold it. Their whole thing was to convince me I wasn't good because I was truly good, and that's what they don't like in their world. And the balance to that is, can your enemy really defeat you? Because when the magician had the knife, to my neck, it was like everything was very much slowed down. And my mind met his, and I said, you can't do this. You're not allowed to do this. It was like it was just completely another reality. And I was like, this is not going to happen. No one would believe me, how completely supernatural. Like she said, Joe, what makes more sense? That it all started somewhere, or that it started before you started here? Right? Do you get me? Like people who are targeted by supernatural things, it's because of who you were before you came here, right? You hear me? It is logically also data proven. If you just, it's hard to stay emotionally unattached. But if you just gathered data, you would see you're clearly beyond all percentages, odds, being targeted because of, not because of necessarily anything you might be doing in the natural world, but because of exactly what you were doing and can do before. And, like she said, let's speak a word of healing, Joseph, right? What is 5? It's the number of healing, the number of magic healing. And tonight, with the VRIL, VRIL energy, we heal ourselves and everyone else of misunderstandings.
to seek the best.